Hello and welcome back to Villa View for a preview of Aston Villa's game against Preston North End at Villa Park in the 3 o'clock kickoff. To do this, I'm joined by Dan Bardell.
Good evening, Matt.
So, main purpose of this game is obviously to get a win out of it and move forward in the league. And, well, we've signed a midfielder finally, and there's another one potentially on his way. But obviously that's not going to be in time, but we've got a midfielder.
Well, in some ways, we've got a midfield, hopefully, with Lansbury coming in. I imagine he'll start purely on the fact that the midfield's been so dreadful recently. So even though he won't have really trained much with the lads, I imagine he'll come straight into the team.
Yeah, I think it's a massive boost for us in the midfield area, especially as we were overrun when we played Preston last. It was obviously in Roberto Di Matteo's last game in charge at Villa Park as well. Preston come into the game only losing once in their last 9 away from home, so Villa obviously unbeaten at home. It's going to be an interesting tie, and especially when Daniel Johnson and Callum Robinson are both in good form for Preston, and they beat Brighton in the last game.
Yeah, they're a decent side, and they've obviously got an ex-Villa player as manager as well in Simon Grayson, who's a good manager and someone who's been linked with the Villa job in the past, so he'll probably want to come back to Villa Park and obviously prove himself and want to get the win. But it's going to be a really difficult game. This is one I'm really not looking forward to, if I'm honest, because I think that they are a handy side. They've got some decent players and they're going quite well at the moment, sitting in 9th. Nothing to say that they won't push up and get into the playoffs, to be honest. And like you've mentioned, Robinson and Johnson coming back, it's going to be interesting because they're going to be fired up because they were never really given a chance at Villa, so they'll want to show everyone what they can do, and they're two players who would walk into our 18 at the moment, no doubt.
They're in really good form, as you've touched on, and the likes of Callum Robinson and Daniel Johnson got a point to prove, but Villa obviously got a few players that have got a point to prove, especially when the window is slowing down towards the end of it, and the likes of Gabby Bonghor up front and Ross McCormack have really got to make an impression, especially when we've been linked with the likes of Jordan Rhodes recently.
Well, I actually think with Lansbury in, there's a chance that McCormack might find some form because it was another clever player to link up with, someone that plays football the right way. So I'm hopeful that having Lansbury to link up with will improve McCormack's game. I mean, I've listened to a bit of Lansbury's AVTV interview. He sounds like a real winner. I know we said this about most of the players that we signed in the summer, but he talks a very good game and he sounds like he's going to be very competitive. And just having a signing will probably create a better atmosphere at Villa Park than there would have been had we been going into tomorrow without having signed anyone. I think the atmosphere probably would have been a bit negative, but even just having a new guy in the squad, I think that will create a more positive atmosphere. And if we can start off on the front foot, there's no reason why we can't win the game. But as I've said, Preston are a good side. It's not going to be easy.
Callum Robinson left in the summer. No hard feelings there for me. I don't think he was actually good enough at the time, but in hindsight at the moment, I'm thinking otherwise, and he could come well back and haunt us.
Well, if he wasn't good enough at the time, then that's, in my eyes, one man's fault. That's Paul Lambert's fault, because the guy wasn't allowed to develop in the correct way at Villa. I mean, I remember him going out on loan to Preston a few seasons prior. He scored a hat-trick in the Cup, I think, and then he gets called back and he's never even used. Lambert doesn't want to know with him, so Paul Lambert, in my eyes, ruined that man's career at Villa. It's as simple as that, and he's a player that we could do with now because we're short on goal scorers and strikers, and he also plays inside forward, wide left very well. And I think had he been nurtured correctly and used in the right way with Villa, he would have perhaps developed further. But he was held back. He wasn't allowed to develop, so now he's developed slower than he should have done. And it'll be Preston that reap the benefits as he blossoms. He's a decent player. He'd walk into our matchday squad now, no problem.
For Villa, how are you expecting them to line up?
I think obviously Johnston will be in goal. Back four, if Baker's fit, it'll be Hutton, Baker, Chester and Amavi. I think Lansbury will start. So I'm going to go Lansbury and Jedinak in the midfield too, even though I think going forward we'll change to a 3. I think Grealish will probably come in on the left for this game to have a bit more attacking verve in the squad. Adoma on the right, and then I think it'll be McCormack off Gabby. But those two have really got to start hitting the back of the net, because otherwise they're not going to play when Codger's back unless they hit any kind of run of form. They are not going to play when Jonathan Codger's back, and if we sign another striker. Your team's different to mine, isn't it? We've disagreed again.
For my lineup, I've gone with Johnson in goal, a back four of Amavi, Baker, Chester and Hutton, but then I've gone with midfield 3 of Tishibola, Lansbury and Jedinak. Adoma on the right, Grealish on the left, and then McCormack up top on his own. I can see Gabby dropping to the bench.
You're wrong. I think Tishabola got dragged in the last game pretty early on in the second half for Grealish. And I just think Gabby will play. I wouldn't want to see your team, to be honest, because I don't think McCormack can play on his own up front, so I'll be a little disappointed if that is the team and fear the worst. Hopefully Steve Bruce will listen more to my team than he does yours.
So for the predictions, we've been doing them at every preview that we've done, but we're going to spruce it up a bit now. There is an app. The link is in the description to this app. It's a Villa app where you can do your predictions. We've got a prediction league going on. Me and Dan are going head-to-head in that, and we want your predictions in the comments as well. So Dan, what's your prediction for the game?
Unfortunately, I'm going to go for a 2-2. I think Preston will give us a rough ride. I think we will score a couple, but I think Preston will too, unfortunately.
And your goal scorers?
I've gone for McCormack and Lansbury to bag on his debut. He's already scored at Villa Park this season, so he's got previous.
For me, it's going to be 2-0 Villa. McCormack and Lansbury scoring. I don't know how tactical you played that by picking the same scorers as me or vice versa, but
it was pretty tactical, to be honest. I did fancy Lansbury to score in his debut, and I think probably if McCormack plays and he's got someone to link up with, he'll probably hit the back of the net. I'm hoping with McCormack that he's been poor recently, but I'm hoping that is due to service and a lack of people on his wavelength rather than he's just rubbish. Because I've backed him for most of the season, saying he'll come good. He needs to start delivering soon, though.
So we are doing fan cams as well for the game tomorrow, so make sure you come down to us. We're going to be on our usual spot just outside the Hull end at the end of the game, so come and speak to us.
Some new faces down as well. I'd like to see some new faces. Matt will be doing them, so I'll just mingle in the background.
Get those predictions in below and get installing the app so you can join us in the league as well. Let's try and see who's the best at predicting games to the end of the season and be part of the league. There is going to be a prize at the end of it as well, so you could well bag yourself something if you are top of the prediction league by the end of the season. Go against me and Dan, and let's see what happens. Let's try and smash 150 likes in the video and get your comments in below and get your post notifications on when you're subscribing. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another one? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. And don't forget to subscribe. Click on our logo there on the left and press subscribe. Easy.